Welcome to the VeraTrade webinar series. My name is Javier Paz, and I've been asked to tell you about myself, my background, and some of the tools that I developed for VeraTrade. Very pleased to do that with you. So the agenda for today calls for talking a little bit about my background and then jumping into the book that I developed as a way to train new currency traders. And then we're going to talk about this strategy that I developed, as well as the pivot lines, the indicator for MT4 that is available at VeraTrade, and some of the signals that we also send to our members by email. So without any further delay, let's go ahead and get started. So let me just preface my background by saying that I've been very fortunate, having had the opportunity to work in a Wall Street setting as an analyst, as a strategist. For the last 10 years, that's when I started my career, and in the process I've learned tons. I've learned how to boil down, focus on what's really relevant in currency markets, been able to write about it, numerous articles and reports over the years. And I've also been able to work in the corporate setting, in the risk management, hedging role, and then I was able to, about 5 years ago, to get started in the retail foreign exchange industry as head of institutional sales for Interbank FX, one of the largest brokers in the world. Now, all of those experiences helped me was to become familiar with the pitfalls of trading and also with the complexities of the market. So you see, becoming a good trader or becoming a good instructor, you have to have had multiple lifetimes worth of experiences to share with others. And I believe that I've been fortunate enough to have that. And part of that came from the institutional sector, where I learned how to understand the complexities of the market. And then as an institutional sales director, what I got to see was the experiences of numerous traders, some big, some small, but many common factors, the emotions that go into trading, how without the proper size of trading and the proper rules, people just simply do not take good care of their accounts. And as a result, they don't achieve the potential of what they could achieve if they were disciplined and methodical in their approach. So you could say that I have a passion for helping others avoid the pitfalls of trading. And part of that desire was channeled into a book that I wrote for VeraTrade, Forex Trading Plan. But also, I wrote it with my own children in mind. They're teenagers right now, and they're learning how to drive. And I said to myself, boy, that'd be a great challenge to help them become familiar with this market that I love so much in a way that it wouldn't be neither too simplistic nor too complex. So just the right approach, I guess, and that's what I set out to do over the last year. And that's what let's talk a little bit about this book that I wrote. So Forex Trading Plan, it starts out with a driving analogy that like I like to say, goes from 0 to 60 in about 90 pages. So it's not a huge challenge, if you will, in terms of length. I think there's plenty of books out there that make it more complex, more difficult to digest than it has to be. Currency trading is about knowing rules, is about following rules, is about being mentally ready and knowing enough to navigate the time frame that you want to navigate, whether it's a few hours or a few days. So certainly the longer that is your time frame, the more rules, the more knowledge you need to have about trading this complex market. Also, it depends a lot about the time of the day in which you set out to trade. If it's during the very volatile periods when news releases are announced, well, certainly that will have a bearing in terms of what fundamental information you need to have to be able to trade and navigate these waters. So now the driving analogy has a purpose. The purpose is to help an individual understand that learning to drive, bears a lot of resemblance to learning how to trade. Both of them require a person to follow the rules, to understand and know the rules. and then basically to practice and to get good at it, and then to be given more trust. And similar process here in trading. I teach you the trading psychology and rules throughout the book. And my thought with having just discussing one strategy was the following. I think I've seen too many books that discuss a lot of different strategies, but do so in a very superficial manner, as if saying, you know, this is what you need to know. It's like, reminds me of the days in college where I learned a lot about a lot of stuff, but not really enough in sufficient depth that I actually knew how to use it in real life. Well, that's kind of what I wanted to do here, is to avoid, I guess, is to give you one strategy that is proven to work almost every day, that can give you the money that you need to do your trading and be enthused and motivated by it. Let's go over the book. At the same time, understand it in great detail. We start out with in a sequential manner. The goal with teaching you and going in depth trading and driving trading strategy, similarities between the two, and then we go through the basics of knowing how to understand the key component parts of currency trading, and then explaining what why people really need to invest the time in trading a practice account to be mentally and emotionally ready for the real thing. All of it is part of, again, what produces ultimately the desired result. So then I go over the basics of the trading platform. I selected MT4. Then we talk about some of the basic overview of some of the technical analysis tools that are used, and then we jumped into the trading strategy, which is a pivot-based strategy. Now the thinking here is, let's get to know in depth this one strategy so that you know how to use it. And part of that, for example, putting this strategy in practice, 9 days of trading. So the thinking there is, again, let's look at a period of 9 random days when this strategy may have worked, may have not worked, and why, so that you understand a little bit more about the risks and the opportunities that this market could give you and this strategy could give you. Then we discuss the trading goals. So the trading goals, discipline, the currencies that we trade. We specify all of these things: the trading schedule, trading strategy, the routine before the trade, the technical indicators that we're going to use, the trade size and risk management, the trade frequency, the trade duration, which charts we're going to use and why, focus, what about it, trade journal, mental conditioning, risk mitigation. All of those factors form part of your trading plan. And then the mental conditioning, I don't know if you know this, but essentially there's quite a transition, and if you don't know it, you will realize it. If you're just like an average person and you try to pick up trading, currency trading, many of you, unless you know these things in chapter 8, you will not adopt currency trading because your mind is not quite wired to be able to make a living trading or make a decent profit on a part-time basis. Simply our mind fights too much new things, new activities like this. So it's important for you to understand how the mind works, and I rely a lot on John Asraf's book on neural reconditioning, which again is as another way of saying rewiring your brain for something else. So let me just browse through some of these tables that, again, that help an individual who's new to the market just become familiar with enough about how to navigate the terminology, and then getting familiar with the trading platform MT4 that you use, how to put on a trade. And this is where, if you're new to trading, I mean, if you're not new to trading, in this chapter 4, where I talk about leverage and margin, I would encourage you to start reading here, because essentially that's where, even if you know or think you know what margin is, I think it's good to make sure that we both agree on what how to understand this very delicate subject. Then we go over some basic Fibonacci studies and another technical analysis that is complementary here. I encourage somebody to, again, continue to get their education in other books, other websites, but I just want to teach you enough that you know the most essential things for being able to put to use this strategy. So this is where the strategy begins, and I go over again, explain the percentages that make this strategy work, the odds, how they work on your favor, and then we go over the trading plan, detailing some of the different steps to be on the safe side. Mental conditioning, the different steps to become a proficient trader, and again, to prepare yourself mentally for it. I conclude the book with the trade size table, which, depending on the size that you're trading, whether it's a live amount or on a demo basis, it tells you how much amount to risk, how many mini lots to put on, or how many standard lots to put on, while keeping a margin level that is very high, enough to keep you away from trouble from a margin call, and letting you know at any given point how much are you risking out of your account. So 1% is the rule here that I believe is adequate, and in order for you to make the most out of this market.